welcome back to another issue of Hops Geek News. I am one of, today we got three co-hosts. I'm Mash, as always. I'm here with the Hoppy Mommy.
Hey, hey, hey.
And today you might recognize this handsome gentleman from our Hoppy Hours or from Feeling Lucky, but we have Lucky joining us today because we're going to talk a little boys action. Lucky, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I actually just got done watching episode 3 earlier this morning, so I am ready to talk about it. It's one of my favorite shows out right now.
Fresh
I think
is
it's one of the best things. But yeah, it's fresh and I'm ready. Thank you for
awesome.
having me on.
Hell yeah, we've been trying to get him on. We tried to get you on before, it didn't work out. So I'm glad that we can finally get you and talk a little comic book action. Unfortunately, Jay couldn't join us, but the gang's all here to talk, and I'm ready to go. I fired up. I took a page out of Hoppy's book this morning and fired up an 11%.
Oh,
This
Jesus.
is Edge's sixth anniversary ale. It's aged in quadruple. It's a Belgian quadruple in rum barrels, so a nice 11%, but it doesn't actually taste like an 11%. It's pretty light
Always
nonetheless. And
dangerous.
I'm just ready to knock myself out for the day. Don't have to work tomorrow, whatever.
It's a holiday weekend. Why not?
It is,
For sure.
nice holiday weekend, and I went to Spirit of Halloween yesterday for the first time too. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm in spooky mode, so
I was gonna
let's get
say, what's
crazy.
your shirt? What shirt do you have on?
It says, oh God, Halloween Safety, a Sitter's Guide. And as you can see, it's got Michael Myers on it. And then it has Laurie Strode reading a book to a child on it. So I'm firing up the spooky.
Pretty
I pretty sure that my 1-year-old got terrified yesterday. I brought her up to like one of the animatronics. I stepped on it and it was fine in the beginning. Then she started trembling and she let out the loudest scream I have ever heard. Like
Oh my
my
God.
ear. It was just like, oh God, I'm so sorry. But it was at the same time, it was funny. But so yeah, we already went. We got Halloween costumes for the kids. We got Halloween costumes for Carrie, and then I'm just missing my Superman outfit because I guess I'm going as Superman this year, per the 4-year-old. But so yeah, Hoppy, what you drinking over there this morning?
I am drinking a collab with Modern Times and Burial called Celestial Altar. So I picked
Yeah.
this one, because it's a 7.3% IPA, and I love IPAs. But I figured Celestial is kind of like Marvel. You know, you got Star-Lord's dad, Ego, is a celestial being. Nowhere, the place, is the head of a big celestial being. So that's how I incorporated into our geek podcast for today. But
That's right. I didn't
yeah.
even mention how mine went in. I guess I just chose mine because the boys came back hitting harder than ever, especially in episode 3. Things got pretty intense, so I'm just celebrating. This is an anniversary beer, so I'm celebrating. But Lucky, what about
Nice.
you? What do you got, man?
I've got something much, much, much later. A Lake James Ryan blogger. It's Sunday, so I'm fighting a little bit of a hangover. So I've got that in my trusty Gatorade Frost. But I'm glad to be joining you guys. It'll
You
be
gotta get these. Hoppy sent me one of these hangover pills, and
uh
I'm saving these for a nice day, probably after my birthday next month.
Next.
I always feel bad like doing anything to combat a hangover. It's like you've done this to yourself and deserve it. So it
Ah,
kind of
screw that. I
like
got kids, man. I gotta do whatever I can to get back
Right,
up to
that's
I
stuff.
don't.
punishment
I
enough the
just
next day.
no. I need to. Yeah. Always feel like I deserve it. So I
Oh
just
my
try to
gosh,
suffer
that's
through.
terrible.
You did this
Next
to
to your
yourself.
package, I'm sending you one of those vitamins. Just
He's
test
looking
it
in
out.
the mirror.
I'll
He's like,
test
"You're
it and then I'll
disgusting."
never go back, and then it'll just lead to more drinking. So
Well, the first time I used them, I was going to a wedding in California, but we were going to be going to San Diego, so we were going to doing a ton of breweries, but I had a half marathon like 3 weeks after that, so I had to maintain my training. And man, we were going to all the breweries. I would take those little vitamins beforehand, drink my water, and I would go running the next morning, and I felt like $1,000,000. Saved my
crazy.
vacation.
I
I
don't run
remember the
as it is,
days
but
I
I
used
can't
to be able to
imagine being
like
hungover.
I used to get like wicked drunk and then I'd be able to go and play 4 hours of basketball the next day. And now it's like I drink 4 beers and I'm just out of commission for 3 days in a row the next day. So it's just like, oh my God.
I think a big chunk
Friday.
is lack of sleep, and if you have kids, you're not getting enough sleep.
That's also true.
Um,
By the time you go to bed, it's like 11 and then the kids are in there at 6 a.m. like, Dad, it's morning time. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, the fuck it's not.
After Thursday's happy hour was one of the Friday was one of the worst hangovers I've had in such a long time. And I really didn't like. I don't know that I drank that much. I drank like 3 beers or something during the stream in the after hours, and then I went out. But someone I was with, I got me a like a Cosmo, or something, just kind
Oh
of as
yeah.
a joke. We ended up at a gay bar and they got me a Cosmo as a joke. And that like ruined my night. Like those things are, it's just like 3 shots of alcohol. You're just
Yeah.
drinking like 3
But they're
shots of
delicious at the
liquor.
same time.
They're so good. I drink it so fast. And I just like, it was terrible. It was a terrible night. So Friday I took a half day just so I could like go back to bed. It was
Those
great.
cosmopolitans will kick your ass.
I
I
straight
know,
up
right?
just
Gotta stick to beer.
Yeah.
Friday morning, man, I mowed like I had to. I was like in the same boat. I only had the 2 on air, and then I think I had 2 on our after hours. And I'm sitting there in the morning. I'm at work. I'm just like, I really need a breakfast burrito right now. And so I just mowed a breakfast burrito, and I feel like a new man afterwards. Because usually, if I'm like hungover, if I have something disgusting, I'm good to go. But yeah, I was
I
dragging
always
ass
want like
myself.
McDonald's or something like just super greasy.
Yeah.
Just
We're
make me hate
doing that
myself
years
double.
ago.
You just want to hate yourself to the fullest. Now she just pops pills while we're over here, just like,
Yeah, right.
Jim,
They're
just the most
vitamins.
disgusting. Sorry, vitamins.
And my vitamins and my lemon water, I swear by it. Because to me, it's like I really like enjoyed drinking the higher ABV beers, but I hate hangovers. I like to feel like $100 when I wake up. So vitamins, lemon water, and apples. They give you natural energy and they restore your liver.
I have heard of apples, lemon water too. Lemon water is that thing that people just drink anyways, I felt like. So I have heard apples, that is another good one, like cucumber water. That's a new thing, I guess. Like I accidentally bought cucumber
Makes me
water,
feel like
smart
I'm
water
ill.
one day. It was weird. I don't know. But I don't even feel like $1,000,000 when I wake up in the morning sober, so whatever.
Right. I'm always running at like 75%. Just when
I
I'm
wake
hungover,
up.
it's down to like 25.
Yeah, I wake up and just like, oh, why am I alive? And then it's just spirals from there.
Well,
Right.
I'm definitely a slow waker upper, but a lot of times I wake up to a 3-year-old yelling, "I have to poop!" So I mean, you got to jump out of bed as fast as you
Like,
can.
oh my God.
Right.
Yeah, like my son actually, thank God he doesn't do that. He just likes to walk in and pronounce that it's morning time to everybody, and I don't know why, but that drives me insane. It's like that's not what I want to wake up to first thing in the morning because
We
I'm
know
awful
it's
at
morning
waking up.
time.
Right. It's
Or
like
or
on
my
up.
alarm. Yeah, it's like, guys, it's morning time. Like, no.
Right.
But anyways, what
Yeah,
have we
Matt,
read
I
this
want to
week?
hear about what you've been reading this week because I keep hearing about what you mentioned you've been reading.
I've said this like 8 times. I just never actually talked about it, I think.
Yeah.
So the other week I picked up Batman: The Three Jokers. Book 1 is out. The book 2 I thought came out this week, but it's actually September 29th that comes out. Essentially what's going on in that story, if you don't want to be spoiled, this is your last chance to just kind of run away, be gone, and that was your chance. So basically turns out there's 3 Jokers running around Gotham, kind of like killing different people, and they want to get caught or something like that.
Wait,
So you
are
have
they
Batman.
Jokers from different multiverses, or they're all in the same
See,
one?
we don't know. So
Okay.
you see the 3 of them in the room together, and it's each like a different Joker from a different point in time in the comics, kind of. And but I want to say that he's cloned himself somehow. I think we'll get answers soon. They don't answer it, but my theory is that he's figured out how to clone himself. And so you have Red Hood, who Jason Todd, if you're familiar with that, he got killed by the Joker, beat with a crowbar, but he didn't actually die, and now he's even more messed up than he was before. He's chasing down leads of the Joker while Batman's chasing down leads. There's like 3 different crime scenes that all happen at once, and they're all the Joker. And so Batgirl, it plays into the Killing Joke where she got shot and paralyzed, and so she's chasing down, and they all converge and kind of meet. You see the Jokers, they all get together in a room, and they're planning something. You don't really know what. Well, Batman, Barbara, and Jason Todd all meet back up. They meet one of the Jokers and they capture him. Well, the book leaves off with that Joker talking about how he killed Jason Todd, basically like laughing in his face and taunting him, and then Jason Todd blows his brains out. So he kills one of the Jokers, and that's where it ends there. And then like Barbara, because Bruce had left to go check out another crime scene, so it was just Barbara and Jason, and she was like, "Why would you do something like that?" And he was like, "If you really wanted to stop me, you would have." And clearly, she missed throwing a batarang at his gun, and it's implied that like she also was like, "Yeah, just fucking blow his brains out." So that's where that book left off, and it was actually really, really good. It wasn't terribly long, and the next book comes out the 29th. So I think he's cloning himself. That's my theory, is that the Joker somehow cloned himself. Otherwise, how are there 3 Jokers? I have no idea.
Right. But when was the first one that came out? Because I feel like my comic book shop has been like raving about this for a while now.
So it was like a big like, hey, this is coming out soon. This is coming out soon. It's supposed to be this
Okay.
big story. and it actually came out not this past week, but the week before. And there's like, I want to say there's 7 or 8 different variations of the cover. So you'll go in there and you'll see a bunch of different covers of the same book. It's all the same book. It's just there's a ton of different covers. I got the one that, crap, I thought I had by my side, but I actually don't. Otherwise, I would have showed you. But yeah, I got this one. The Joker's just creepily on it. There's one with Batman on it, and there's just different cover variations, which they're all really good artwork. I would just buy them for the different cover artwork. But the next book, and then they're spaced out for some reason. I don't know why they're spaced out, but they just kind of are. The last one will come out sometime in October.
Gotcha. Right. Well, I have actually not really read anything this week, but I've watched quite a bit.
Yeah, I was looking at the thing, and it's like, man, she's been like killing them. I haven't had time to watch anything, and she's over here like just binging. And I'm like, I'm lucky to read.
I feel like once my kids finally fall asleep at night, it's like I just stay up later than I should because it's the only time that the kids are not on my ass.
Yeah. Me, I'm that old man that just like sits there to put something on, and then I just like fall asleep immediately.
That's my husband. He'll be like, "You want to watch this action movie?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna watch the whole thing and then be wired, and you're gonna be out in 10 minutes."
See, I'm glad I'm not alone because I get shit on all the time. My wife's like, "You just fall asleep immediately." I'm like, "Yeah, I can't help it. I want to sit there and I want to watch these movies, and then next thing I know, I'm just asleep." And she's like, "What happened in it?" I'm like, "I have no idea."
Yeah, because he'll fall asleep and wake up, so then he remembers random parts, but not the whole movie. He'll fall asleep in the movie theater. And it's like, oh,
That's
well,
crazy.
I'm glad we paid $15 for you to take a nap, but I'm fine.
I fell asleep in a movie theater one time, and that was to Avatar, and because that movie sucks. Like, I cannot stand the blue people Avatar, James Cameron. That movie sucked, and that's where I'll leave off with that.
Oh, he fell asleep during Guardians. He fell asleep during Logan. He always falls asleep. He's actually stopped going to the newer ones because he falls asleep. So he stays home with the little ones and the teenager, and I go to the Marvel releases now. And then he just catches them later. But yeah, so I actually started Runaway season 3, which I didn't even know existed until recently. I never knew they did a season 3.
Did they really? I didn't even know. I watched season
November.
1. Huh.
Well, the first few episodes, I haven't finished it. The first couple episodes were pretty good. They were wrapping up, where they had like a cliffhanger from the previous season. But now they're getting into like witchcraft. And I'm not loving that storyline. So I haven't finished it, but I don't know if they're going to do a season 4 because now that they're doing a lot of these shows on Disney Plus, it seems like a lot of the Hulu and everything else, like Netflix, we haven't heard anything about Netflix. But so I started that. That was interesting, but I really liked the first 2 seasons. And then, yeah.
I was just I saw season 1, hadn't watched season 2, and I thought I heard a rumor that they were just ending it, but maybe I was wrong, which I'm okay with them ending that, but I still really want Daredevil, like you said, with the Netflix movies or shows going away. We're dying for Daredevil. Like Daredevil and Punisher are the only 2 I'd love back.
Right, and they left them all with cliffhangers. Like, as much as I can't stand the immortal Iron Fist, they even ended that where it's like you wanted to see, like, it was like, oh, okay, this is finally getting watchable, and then they're like, oh, no, we're never doing any of this again.
Yeah, exactly.
But and the other thing I've kind of been watching the last season of Supernatural to kind of get myself ready for the next season. But that's like something I've seen, so it's like I'll put it on while I'm doing other things. And I caught a little something that I thought was worth mentioning. So I know I've mentioned before Jensen Ackles is actually part owner of a brewery in Austin, Texas called Family Business Brewing because they're in the family business of killing monsters. And so he actually plugged his own brewery in an episode. So he's got, so he's being possessed by an angel, and the angel has him convinced that because he wants to control his body, the angels aren't all good and the demons aren't all bad. It's a lot of fun to watch that show. So he's being possessed by this angel, and the angel has him thinking he's running a bar, which is like his dream. And so his brother walks in and he's like, hey, you want to try this new IPA from this brewery down in Austin, Texas? It's called Cosmic Cowboy IPA. So I looked it up on Untapped, and it's actually a beer that they have on tap at the brewery. So.
Shameless. See, that's what happens when you get famous. You can start shamelessly plugging into your show like, hey, what do you want to try this Coca-Cola product or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure anytime he goes there, they get more people that come to the brewery and people that will follow them solely because of the show. But other than 100%. That, I really just watched The Boys season 2, but I also watched all the after shows too. So we'll talk more about that soon.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the after shows. Yeah, I watched just the actual season itself. I haven't watched the after shows, but yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. Lucky, is there anything that you've watched or happened to read or anything besides The Boys? I know we kind of nerd out over here. You get to listen to us kind of go crazy.
No, it's awesome. half mast right now, just listening to you guys talk about it. It's pretty fun. No, I started rewatching. I'm glad you guys mentioned it. I listened to the one about who you guys absolutely hate. Wasn't one Iron Fist and one
It
Jessica Jones?
was. It
I love
was.
Um,
Iron Fist.
I'm glad you said that you like Daredevil. Daredevil's my favorite, and I'm rewatching it right now. I just started that again this week, just because one of my friends hasn't watched it, and I'm big into that. Like if they haven't seen something that I like love, I love like all of the reactions and stuff that other people that haven't seen it have. So
Hmm.
I started rewatching Daredevil. Daredevil's like my favorite superhero probably ever. Um,
It
so
was the
yeah,
Ben
I'm
Affleck
also
version that did it for you, wasn't it?
yeah, right. No, 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 no. But yeah, that's all I've been watching. That and The Boys, obviously. But
See, I
like
would
through
love to
that,
go
like
back.
it's
Yeah,
super
no time.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
I
you
would love
always
to.
catch things when you rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
You do big time. That's
Especially in
like my
stuff like that.
Carrie won't go back and read. Like if I've already seen something, she doesn't want to watch it, even though she hasn't, because I've already seen it. But me, I'm like, if I love it, I'll rewatch the shit out of it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I want to I like rewatching things to me because you can catch other things, and
Mm.
just I enjoy rewatching the same old things over and over again. That's just how I am. But
Yeah.
I would say Charlie Cox is probably like the best version of Daredevil we may get. Like it's on par
Mm-hmm.
with Wolverine and Hugh Jackman linked, things like that. And he actually lost a lot of roles, I guess, because he got so used to playing like the blind guy that he would not
Really?
make eye contact with people. And I guess he lost out on a lot of roles because of that. Like Han Solo, he
Wow.
lost. Yeah, he auditioned
Oh,
for Han
I didn't
Solo.
know
wow.
that. I
And
did not know that at all.
yeah,
Oh, I would
there's
have liked to have seen him as Han Solo.
yeah, it's just the whole like he made so used to not making eye contact with people that just kind of stuck when he went to audition for these roles.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's having like trouble, which kind of sucks because he's really a legitimately good actor. I know he's in a bunch of
Hmm.
other things, but Daredevil's really where I found him, and he's amazing as Daredevil. And it kind of you finally get this ultimate he beats Kingpin finally, and he's like, I beat you in that third season, and then they just
Mm-hmm.
give you like a soft closure, but you feel like there's still so much more to be given there, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Hmm.
they just kind of stopped it, which sucks. So
That sucks so much. Do you guys think that they'll ever bring it back on Disney or no? I know there's
I don't
probably
know.
not gonna happen, but
so I heard that the Netflix has the rights to those shows for X amount of years, and I think that ends next year, I want to say.
okay.
So I don't think they can do anything right now, but who's to say? I would love to see Daredevil show up in maybe a Spider-Man because I know
Sure.
Daredevil and Spider-Man are often, crossover with each other a lot. Um, so maybe we'll get Charlie Cox and maybe we'll get a version of the Punisher now that we can maybe get some R-rated superhero type things, but
Mm.
who knows? I hope we do.
Yeah, I hope so too. I just feel like Disney Plus is really focusing more so on the direct MCU of the actual
Yeah.
movies and making TV shows out of them.
Yep.
But they did do a crossover in The Runaways. I haven't gotten to it yet. They have a crossover with Cloak and Dagger, which I don't love that show. I feel like the target market is more so teenagers, because my daughter loves it. So they did crossover there, and they've done crossover with a Netflix show. So I would love to see them cross
Mhm.
networks like they did with DC. I mean, they crossed CBS and CW, but everybody wants those shows to come back, and it just seems
Agreed.
like such a waste for them to not come back. But yeah, the contracts thing, it's like we have in Florida, Disney can't do anything with Marvel other than a few things like Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange because Universal has the rights to do everything, but Universal can't do
Hmm.
anything with the MCU. So all Universal superhero stuff is the old school comic book stuff, which is
Mhm.
cool, but Disney would be able to do so much more, which they're doing in California, but they can't in Florida. It's like for you to see anything even on the Mickey boats, they have to be off in international waters before Captain America will come out. Like it's
That's
it's
crazy.
it's
See, that's
frustrating
so
as all
crazy.
hell.
It's like, why can't we just like work together? Obviously,
I know,
the MCU
right?
has grown
Like
so big.
breweries work
Yeah,
together.
it's all about money. Like, first of all, Disney's buying literally any property on Earth, and so they just bought Fox and then all that kind of stuff. So they have the X-Men now, and Universal I know is owned. Like, that's why you're not seeing a lot of Hulk, is because Universal and Sony they own Hulk and Spider-Man and like all the Spider-Man characters respectively. But it's like clearly there's a big market for this. Marvel and Disney are really doing well at the movies and shows. Can we not just like hash it out in some sort of way?
Right.
I
Well,
know Sony will never give up their rights to Spider-Man because he's
right.
such a cash grab.
Mhm.
Hulk, who the hell knows what's going on with Hulk, but I just wish we can just maybe let's combine and make our own theme park that's owned by Disney, Universal, all these places, and that we can all just enjoy because I don't know.
Well, I think they should retheme. I mean, this is my own personal opinions, and obviously I've never read any of the contracts, but I think they should retheme Universal where it's DC rather than Marvel. Like make the Hulk
Yeah.
ride Superman, where you go, you take off. You could make, Doctor Doom, I don't know, Aquaman, and you plummet into the ocean. Not literally, but you can change those rides and retheme that land. And then it'll be like, okay, now we have these multiple things because, well, Universal, I think what saved them in Orlando was they have Harry Potter. Disney tried to get Harry Potter, but Universal won because they told J.K. Rowling, if you do it here, you have complete creative control, and she wanted complete creative control. Whereas Disney was like, no, we're gonna have the
mouse does not give up control.
Right. But
I don't
yeah.
know. Which I think doesn't Six Flags? I think they have a contract with the Warner
Oh,
Brothers.
I think they do. Yeah.
They have the Batman rides, and then they also have the Superman rides. So I don't know.
I've never been to a Six Flags.
This is why we can't have nice things, because somebody's always just going to get overly greedy, and then we, the fans, suffer in the end. Like, yes, we get happy because we get whatever we can get from it, but
well, we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy ride in Orlando, so I am excited about that. And we had a meet and greet with Baby Groot and Star-Lord, and then there was like a Doctor Strange magic show for a little bit, but they didn't really advertise it. It was almost like they were trying to keep it secret, like Universal wouldn't find out. But so they can do things like that. But apparently when Black Panther came out, they put like one little thing in Universal that's like Black Panther, so Disney can't use it.
Oh my God.
So
that's terrible.
It is terrible because, yeah, I mean, I like Universal, but I feel
somebody think of the children.
Right?
I missed
the
you guys
children.
Last episode, did you talk about Black Panther and Chadwick?
We did, yeah. Which I believe that actually goes into our news. So we do have some breaking news. And that, first of all, we'll get the petty stuff out of the way first. So Mandalorian, if you've been following, we got Mandalorian coming up October 30th. They just released, they haven't released a trailer yet, so I imagine a trailer is coming anytime now to get that hype up. They actually just released their Lego set of the Mandalorian ship, and it has a little tiny Lego figure of the child. I'm trying to convince the wife to let me get that, solely for that minifigure and because that ship's dope. But I'm spoiled enough as it is. And in addition to that, we do have a little Batman news, and that's the production for the Batman has been delayed due to Robert Pattinson having COVID. He was the only one who had it. I think he's past it and over it now. They just have to obviously quarantine him till they're for sure he's out of the woods. So they were talking, they halted production, but I think they're actually going to re-up it and just film people's scenes without him there, because there's probably a ton of the movie left that they can film without Robert Pattinson in it. And so that's kind of where we're at. They might end up delaying from next October, which would suck because this movie's built around the Long Halloween Batman story, which is a phenomenal story. If anybody hasn't read The Long Halloween, go read it. It's a really, really good book that takes place on Halloween, and there's a lot of different stuff going on. So, yeah, that's what I have.
That's pretty cool. All right, so Disney Plus, we were just mentioning that they bought out Fox, so you're seeing all those Fox shows come up. The Wolverine is now on Disney Plus. I know a lot of people are a hater of that movie, but I love it. It goes back to the old school Wolverine in Japan and tells a lot of that story, which is a huge part of who Wolverine is. I see you cringing. This is not Origins. It's the Wolverine.
I didn't like that one, though, still.
Apparently, he almost, killed himself on that bullet train scene. So I very much still enjoyed that story. Once Upon a Time's also coming for anybody who watches that. And Mulan will be no extra charge on December 4th. I think there was stories going back and forth if there was an extra charge or not. So, and also, I don't know if anybody's watched DC Stargirl. I have not. It just recently started in May. I have not. But I learned that Luke Wilson is in it.
Really?
And I love Luke Wilson. So now
is that where he's at these days? He's fallen from filming big time movies to now he's just appearing in CW shows.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. He's probably like her dad or something. But yes,
probably. Yeah, I haven't watched it personally myself. Yeah, so whatever.
I'm behind on a lot of CW shows. I haven't watched any of the Batgirl or Stargirl, and only a few Black Lightning. So eventually, I'll get back into all that.
Did either of you watch Mulan? Sorry to cut you off.
I haven't watched Mulan yet because. Okay. I am very frugal, so if I know it's coming out December 4th for free, I'm not going to pay $30. That's where Disney messed up. They should have never said that it was coming out, That
Yeah.
and there's a whole bunch of like whatever issues. I mean, if you're into civil rights stuff, kind of like I am to a degree. It's she came out in support of the Hong Kong police, so like there's a lot of people wanting to boycott Mulan, things like that. And
Mhm.
I'll watch it for free, but they're not going to get my extra $30 when it's going to be
Right.
free December 4th. So I haven't watched it. I heard it's decent. It's like 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. So
Yeah, they're
I do
saying
want to
it's
watch
one
it.
of the best live action Disney movies.
I'll
Interesting.
watch it when it's free, but talk to me December 4th when it's actually out.
Okay. I didn't either. I was just wondering. I knew they came out.
Yeah, no, I think the kids have mentioned it. If they push it, we'll probably end up doing it just because we can't go to the movies. But we have
That's true.
not seen it yet.
Actually, time out. The movies are open again, and Tenet has actually come out in American theaters this past weekend.
Mhm.
And
Which
New
that's a big-
Mutants.
And yeah, New Mutants, which I don't actually know anybody who's seen that yet.
I don't
But
either.
movie theaters in America are open again, and people have gone out and saw Tenet this weekend, which I want to do. I'm just not sure about the whole. I don't know. It's one of those double-edged swords. Like, do I just go ahead and risk it, or I don't know. But movie theaters are open, so maybe that's
Yeah.
good news for Wonder Woman and Black Widow.
Last time I took the 3-year-old to a movie, he was like laying on the floor, so I'm not ready to do that during COVID season.
No, his immune system's already built up. He already
Right.
can't catch anything because he's just crawling on the floors of movie theaters.
Oh, God, I feel like always there was a picture I had of him like touching Goofy, and I'm like, that's the moment he got like 24 hours later he was sick. I'm like, I'm pretty sure when he got sick. All right, so Marvel actually did not know that Chadwick Boseman was sick. They found out, Kevin Feige found out an hour before he passed away. And what the really sad part is Chadwick Boseman thought that he was going to be healthy enough to get back into the gym in September because they were supposed to start filming Black Panther 2 in March because it's supposed to come out in 2022. So that was really sad. His personal trainer knew, his agent knew, obviously his family knew, but no one over at Marvel did because he honestly thought he would be okay to do it. A lot of people are pushing for Shuri to take over, and apparently that was their intention, but it was their intention after 3 or 4, standalone Black Panther movies. So it looks like there's theories, everything now at this point, there was theories as to how they're going to do that, but I'm sure that, they said that they're having to deal with this terrible, unexpected loss at the same time as, trying to somewhat maintain this schedule and everything, but ABC did actually a tribute to him last Sunday. So they played Black Panther and then they did a special tribute. I haven't started it. I put it on for 2 minutes and was like, I'm not emotionally prepared to watch this right now.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I was like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah,
My son's favorite character is Black Panther right now, so I'm just like,
Oh,
nope,
definitely
not
don't
put
start
myself
it because
in it.
one of the pictures they show right away is those pictures that are going around with like the little boy crying. Oh, it's too much.
Nope.
Yeah.
But the tribute, it's called A Tribute for a King. It's on Hulu right now, so you can find it if you search Tribute for a King or Chadwick Boseman or anything. They were saying it was going around that it was on Disney Plus. It's not. I searched everything, but it is on Hulu.
Yeah.
And that is my news.
So I guess I have how he was diagnosed like 3-4 years ago.
2016.
I'm actually really surprised that they didn't know he had it, because I feel like, especially while you're filming all these movies, he probably was receiving treatment to some degree,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
that's honestly surprising that nobody really knew he had it, because there's a lot of treatments that are involved, especially while you're not at home. So you got to like set up a doctor in Atlanta where they film Avengers and all the other places where they're filming movies. But that actually really just makes you even more sad, because he thought he was going to be fine. He was feeling well, and all of a sudden it was just like at a snap, now he's not fine. Like, damn, that actually really does kind of hit hard this morning.
Well, he had gotten really skinny, and a lot of people assumed it was for a role.
Well, yeah, I remember back in January, like he put out that press release. He was talking. He did some sort of like Zoom kind of talk interview, and people were like making really horrible jokes, things like that. Like, and it's just now it comes out that no, the man was actually dealing with something pretty serious. Like, holy shit. I had no idea. I didn't think anything of it at the time either. I honestly thought that, hey, maybe it was a role, or that's just how he looks when he's not bulking up for movies. So, and then come to find out, yeah, it hit out of nowhere, and I'm not ready to watch anything like that myself.
But yeah, he was still like working with Make-A-Wish and whatnot. I mean, like even like within the month he died, there's somebody from Marvel came out about a recent text of, he's like, oh, we just need to get these toys over to the hospital. Even if it makes these kids' lives better for a minute, their life's better for a minute. So it's like, even on his almost literal deathbed, he's still, not thinking of himself.
Exactly.
So.
He was like a real life superhero. Like we talked about last episode, he was somebody who really gave, like, especially for like children of color in a time like this, they really looked up to him because it's like, hey, now that means I can be a superhero. It's different when you can see somebody that looks like you,
identify with them better.
Exactly. And it goes the same for like female superheroes, things like that. You identify with it more, and so it hits hard for a lot of people. And the fact that he was still hitting up children's hospitals just talks about what the kind of person he was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they'll probably have to have. There's no way they're gonna have somebody else play T'Challa. They're gonna have to go Shuri, because you can't just like replace him like that without it. They're gonna have to do some sort of off-screen thing, go back, redraw it. So
Shuri's probably already in the gym. She's like, oh shit.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, I gotta get up. The quarantine 15.
There was a meme that was going around. I've never read any of the comic books, but there was a meme going around that said that she does take over later in the comic books. Is that true? I didn't know that.
He gets injured at some point in one of the wars, and she takes over. And one of the theories, like a lot of people are saying they'd love to see, because there's been rumors that Namor, the Submariner, is going to be coming in, which he's my, spoiler alert, he's my most underrated superhero. So we'll be talking about him.
Don't actually know hardly anything about him, so I can't wait to hear about him.
Well, I mean, he's Marvel's Aquaman, basically. But there have been hints or nods, like years ago, I think in Iron Man, they're like, oh, we keep a monitor on threats, and there was something in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which could be Atlantis.
Yeah. That's a lot of things people were like, that's him.
Yeah, and then when Black Widow's like, what about these underwater earthquakes? And Okoye Michonne, I'm always going to butcher that name. I don't know why. I'm sorry. She was like, it's an underwater earthquake. Yeah, I know. It's so terrible.
It's bad, but that's...
It's like Okoye, or then I always want to say Okoye, but Okoye.
Yeah. I butcher it every time.
But so she's like, it's an underwater earthquake. We don't do anything about it. So there's belief that that's Namor. So Namor and Black Panther had a lot of friction. They were not the best of friends. They butted heads a bit. So there's, of course, fan theories are now like, well, they should mention, bring Namor in on that storyline that they didn't, but they didn't get along well. Maybe that's how he passed away or something. But I'm sure they will do it gracefully and tastefully and honor Chadwick Boseman. And, Ryan
Coogler should be back for that. So
oh my god,
it is going to be tough. And I know Ryan Coogler, he's going to be great. He'll be great. And actually, speaking of Black Panther, there was a thing going around where Robert Downey Jr. actually also came out and said that he's 100% done. We'll never do another Marvel movie ever. So not even like cameos. A lot of people were like, oh, he's probably gonna do small cameos as like a pre-recorded message, whatnot. But no, he said he's 100% done. Which, throw $100 million at him, I'm sure he'll do like a 10-minute cameo in a Spider-Man movie eventually. But as of now,
I love him. I would pay more money to see Hugh Jackman make a cameo.
100%, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Hugh Jackman has said he would come back to do something in
for
Marvel.
The MCU. Yes, he
or
said
as Wolverine.
Yes, just something, even just like at a bar saying "fuck off" again, just something.
Yeah.
Just tie him into the MCU.
Yes, somehow we will get. I'm confident they're gonna get Hugh Jackman. He'll be like an old man making a cameo, but he's got to be in it.
They could totally tie him in with the Old Man Logan storylines, 100%. I mean, like he goes to another multiverse. He's an old man. I mean, they could totally do it. And like they're, and he's interacting with a lot of the superheroes' kids. Hell, he could do this in 20 years. He could be hanging out with Clint Barton's daughter. It's consistent with the comics still. So
that's true. They are building up the Young Avengers. We should start it. We're going to start
a petition. There's probably already a
petition
out there, honestly.
Without a doubt, there's a petition for everything you'll find. Whereas even if you think it's something that you never thought would be a petition, it's already got probably at least 5,000 signatures, I would say, because there's always a market for this. The glorious thing the internet has done is given everybody who shouldn't have a platform for a voice. So
like us,
like especially like us. But now to really get to why we're all here, of course, on this fine Labor Day weekend. Oh, what do we got there? We have The Boys. Season 2 of The Boys released Friday. They released the first 3 episodes. I know a lot of people are mad because they can't binge watch it all in a weekend.
That was
I'm
gonna be my
okay.
first question for you guys. How do you feel about them doing that?
Yeah. So I'm okay with it because I've been so busy with everything going on that it's like, okay, I
Mm,
don't have to rush to finish the first season before people really start to talk about it. And so I can kind of week by week just watch one episode. I'm cool with that. I rushed to watch the first 3 episodes. Old man fell asleep Friday night watching episode 3, so I just went back yesterday and watched it. And so I'm fine with it. It kind of makes you feel like a kid again. And, I used to watch Dragon Ball Z week to week, things like that. So a lot of people these days just forget what that feeling's like, where you have to wait a week for an episode, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I did that for Agents of Shield, but it's kind of nice because it was like usually Fridays after happy hours, I'd have coffee with my daughter and we'd watch, we'd bribe the 8-year-old to watch the toddler so we could watch Agents of Shield. So that is sometimes nice. I'm glad they did it because when they release everything, like I'm that asshole that will, I'll just watch another episode and go off 4 hours of sleep. So I was
Yep.
glad they did it. Otherwise, it probably would have ruined my Saturday because I would have been watching it all day.
I literally would have stayed up the entire time watching
Right.
it too.
Yeah, I
Somehow.
mean, I was actually watching it on my phone yesterday morning because the kids were running around. I can't put it on the TV with the kids around, so I'm like just putting on cartoons and they're running in and out, and I'm watching it on my phone. But
Yeah.
so yeah, we should say at this point we're probably going to go into spoilers. So anybody who
Yeah,
hasn't
we're
seen the
spoiling
first
the
3
fuck.
Say that. I'm
episodes
gonna
of
grab one
season
more.
2. Okay.
Lucky's grabbing a beer. We are going to spoil the hell out of this because, like I said, if you haven't watched the first 3 episodes, there's that pressure to do it because everybody's putting spoilers out on the internet immediately. And so
Pressure.
there's so much
Make
pressure.
your
It's
head
like, oh my
explode. It'll be so much pressure.
Yes, or in a lot of cases that you see people's wrists getting snapped under the pressure or whatever. Ugh, that was a
Oh,
tough scene to watch.
but that was poetic too, though, because remember he had gotten his wrists broken when they found out she was stealing rice and he took the blame. So
Yes.
again, he came back to rescue her and then got his wrists broken again. So I feel like there was definitely some.
Oh, it was definitely symbolic there.
Yeah.
Yes. And, so
Yeah, start at
season
the
2
beginning.
it dropped, and the first episode it kind of picks up where we left off. You kind of see Butcher's gone, he's missing. You open up in this like basement where they're kind of doing like I guess they're selling drugs, guns, drugs, things like that.
They're just hiding
Huey,
there.
Mother's Milk, Frenchie, they're all hiding out there. They have an operation going on, and it turns out that Huey is still working with Starlight, and he still obviously loves her. She's pissed off because he lied to her. Yeah, makes sense,
On
especially
the
given
comics,
the fact
they're still together. Decade into the future, they're together.
I feel like they're definitely. I feel like they're gonna end up back together in some way, shape, or form. But it opens up. He goes and meets her, and he slides her like, "Hey, go and find this person." And they're trying to basically expose that Vought knew about Compound V, and that all their supers are on Compound V, and that's how they get their powers. It's not God given, and that's kind of where season 2 opens back up. Lucky, what are
Because
your thoughts actually on season 2 so far? We're going into the spoilers. Don't worry about spoiling it. This kind of where we're at now. They're hiding out, and the soups are chasing them down, basically.
So yeah, I thought the reason I asked why you guys liked it, or whether or not you guys liked them doing the 3 episodes and then like not releasing the fourth, I thought that they ended the third episode so perfectly to go and like
Yes.
it's not something that I'll like forget about until next Friday. Like I'll be thinking about it constantly. So I thought that the ending of it was super good. I I missed your recap, your guys' recap episode. Didn't you guys recap season 1?
yeah,
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, so I obviously wasn't here for that, but I cannot remember a TV show where like the characters, every character is so polarizing to me. Like I get so much hate when I see some of the characters, and like I feel like I like some of them so much. Like, what's his name? The home. Why can't
Homelander.
Oh, Homelander.
Homelander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Matt
get
couldn't remember his
so
name last
much.
week either.
I was having
I
such
get
a hard time with names last week. I have
We
no
both
idea
were.
what was
Because it was
yeah.
like 11.
God.
It was late.
Mhm.
It was
I'm
late.
terrible.
Yes.
I'm terrible with names, so you guys will have to get that. Help me out with that. But
Hopefully.
Homelander, my like, hate for him every time he speaks is so like I just feel it. I feel myself boiling. So like I enjoyed the first 3 episodes. Super super graphic, which I think is what makes it such a good show. But the like internal conflict between the seven I think is going to be good. They like hinted towards that at
Oh
the end
yeah.
of the last episode. I think that's going to be something really good to look out for. I don't know. I just thought the first 3 were awesome.
Well, I think I love that with the internal conflict with the seven. I didn't even think of that because some of them knew and some of them didn't. So it's like
Hmm.
Homelander obviously has known, and then you see Black Noir crying.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
so that could be a lot of how, you knew and you didn't tell us. You made us think we were gods. And
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, not even that, but like, so it is very interesting, the internal conflict. So there's like so many storylines within that internal conflict. So first of all,
Yep.
Stormfront, I already hate her guts.
Oh my
I
God.
hate
And I
her
loved
so
her the
much.
first two
Well,
episodes.
I liked her right up until the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah, like so I think obviously Stormfront, I want to say that Stormfront, it's a name for like Nazi, something to do with the Nazis. And so I
Well,
wonder
she's a
if,
dude in the comics.
yeah, and I think isn't in the comics Stormfront's like from the Nazi experiments, I think. If don't correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But so, but yeah,
That
she's
was
just
the
like right from the beginning.
racism. Was that the racism at the
Yeah,
end?
she
The
was
little
like,
like
you
Called
know,
her.
jab she
fuck
took.
yellow, whatever. I was like, oh
Yellow,
my God.
yeah.
And like
I was like, whoa.
I kind of knew that she was gonna be different. Obviously, when she first comes on, she's basically like, fuck Vought. She kind of does her own thing, something like that. And then really, you get to see her break out in that third episode where she's on par. She's obviously not as strong as Homelander, but personality wise, they are very similar in that they're both kind of sociopaths. Where
Hmm.
but I think Homelander though at the same time, he'll do whatever he has to in a different way. Like he'll do whatever he has to as long as the seven and there's just still that superhero front. Whereas I feel like with her, she just doesn't care. She'll do
I was gonna
whatever
say
she wants.
it seemed like she gets off on the chaos a little bit more,
Yeah,
the
she's
Yeah.
like,
deception a
I
little
like to
bit.
see the light go out in your eyes, like
Mm,
stuff like that.
So
Whereas
her,
Homelander does stuff with a purpose. She's more of a wild card, is what I was getting from it.
I guess there's an infamous neo-Nazi website called Stormfront.
Okay,
And
yeah, that's
so
cool.
Vought in the comics, because I've only read volume one, I intend on reading all of them eventually. It's deeply racist and hateful person. Got his start as a weapon of Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
So yeah.
gotcha.
And did you hear they did mention Soldier Boy, which is the one
yes,
Jensen Ackles
they
going to
did.
be playing in season 3.
Yep.
So
They did, and so with the internal conflict, you also have, Black Noir's kind of there. He went on that mission. He caught the super terrorists initially. It was kind of crazy. He like blew up, and then he just creepily
Mm,
like plays with the stuffed animal with the kid, and it's like this is
yep.
because he doesn't speak. And that's the best part is
Hmm.
he just kind of fucks with the kid, and then he leaves, and then you really see him like show emotions where he's crying in the hallway when it comes out, and then you also have Starlight. She wants no part of these guys. Like she's good. She wants to bring him down. And then A Train finds out. He comes back. Spoilers, obviously. A Train comes back, and he's like, "I know exactly what you did. You let your boyfriend go." And then he catches her with the Compound V. And so there's like that in conflict. And then Starlight has conflict with the rest of the seven because she doesn't want any part of them. And there's a lot built just within the seven, and not to mention the whole fact that you have Huey, Butcher, Mother's Milk, Frenchie, all them
Yep.
just ready to try to bring them down. So they set up the first 3 episodes perfectly, like you said, where it leads off with or ends with Stormfront basically being like, God bless, helping all these people. Meanwhile, she was just a
Mm,
murderous craze,
yep.
destroying that building. She's the reason why all these people are homeless. She was destroyed the building.
Hmm.
she's the newer version of Homelander, to where like
Yeah.
Homelander is this, something you wanted back in the day that represented America. Like she's like calling people out, and she's like, focusing on
She's the
social
Donald
media.
Trump of the seven
But she's
right
still, well, no, because she seems way cooler. But
Come on, that's crazy.
I definitely recommend watching Inside the Boys though, because it was just like Talking Bad or Talking Dead. Aisha
Yep.
Tyler hosted it, and she's also been on Talking Dead in the past, and she's
Mhm.
has come out many times saying she grew up on comics, she loves comics, she's read all the Walking Dead ones, and so she hosted it, and the conversations were hilarious. And one of the questions asked, and I think this would be great for Feeling Lucky, was would you rather die via laser beams to the eyes
Oh
or
God.
ass Asphyxiation.
I would much rather laser beams to the eyes, me personally.
Yeah, that was
thinking.
my gut reaction.
I don't want
there.
anything in the ass.
But then a couple people like Starlight and I think Eric Kripke were like, I'd rather go out having fun and do the asphyxiation.
Fair, that's fair.
So this was the conversation, and there was, I guess, when Eric Kripke, with the dolphin scene with the deep, where the dolphin was like asking
my
the deep
God.
to give him a hand job. He goes, yeah, that one
Mhm.
was really hard to get approved.
Yeah.
So we didn't even get to the deep yet, too. Like, obviously, we kind of see he gets reintroduced. Where we last left him, he's spiraled into alcoholic
Yeah.
depression. He's
Yeah.
kind of depressed. He got kicked out of the 7, and
I
now he
love him
kind of.
and I hate him.
I
Yeah,
know he's one that I just can't get a read on. Like I
You-
feel
you
like
feel
he's gonna
bad.
be faking all of it the whole time, and I think like he's gonna somehow go back to being like a total asshole. But like right now in the moment, I kind of sympathize with him. Maybe kind of. I don't know.
You do.
Yes.
You almost
his
feel bad
whole
for him
mushroom
because
trip or whatever his drug trip was I thought they did that really well. That was like very like his
yes.
personal internal conflict and all that stuff. I thought that was done really well.
Well,
Did you
a lot of
recognize
his.
the voice of the Gills?
I didn't.
Who was it? I
It's
do.
I can't remember his actual name. It's Remy from Ratatouille, and he's also in Marvel's Agents of
Oh.
Shield, the guy that there's multiple ones of. Patton Oswalt, I think.
Yes,
That's right.
yes,
That's
who
right.
it
That's
is.
right.
I
Oh
love
my God,
Patton
you're
Oswalt.
right.
Yes.
He's a really good comedian. He's a really, really
I-
good
yeah.
comedian. But I did
I love
recognize
Patton
it.
Oswalt as well. I
Yep.
can't believe I didn't recognize his voice initially, even though I knew he was in it.
Oh,
I
as soon
totally
as his
forgot.
Gills started talking, I'm like, oh shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
But
love him.
so a lot of the Deep's insecurities obviously come from the fact that he finds himself ugly because of these gills, and so his whole trip kind of talks to that, where he kind of reconciles. He joins this religious cult, and then you kind of see him,
Storefront knew of.
yeah, and then you like
Right.
see him come out of nowhere where they're going to the island to turn over the terrorists there. I can't remember her name, her brother. Um,
The female?
yeah, that's right. That's her name. Literally is the female.
Or Kamiko, but she's the female.
Kamiko, yeah, she's called the female. But like they're turning over her brother, and all of a sudden like all the sharks and stuff come out, and I was like, oh shit! It's
When
the
they were
Deep.
shooting at the sharks, I'm like,
They
stop
were.
shooting at the
And
sharks,
that,
these
I
poor
was
sharks.
totally fine with that until
I was
you
not.
went the butcher full blast the boat into the sperm whale on the beach. it's like-
what a scene that is. Oh my
It's
god.
hilarious because like, and then he's like Pinocchio staying behind. And it
That
just
was
like,
the
oh,
best
shit.
line of
That was
all
pretty
3
good.
episodes.
But you really
Pinocchio's.
feel bad for the Deep because the Deep is like like the season 1 the dolphin died. Now season 2 he's like my whale. I'm over here like making sure Lucy's okay.
Right.
And then basically Homelander's like, hide your gills. They're fucking disgusting. And then
Right.
it's just plays more into that. So like you really kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time you remember all the shitty stuff.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Matt just pulled a me.
You just unplugged, I think, or
We
something.
can't hear you.
didn't-
Your mic went out.
No. I don't know what that
Well, that was
but I heard
unexpected.
it go out too.
Oh no. Am I good
There.
You
now?
were
You're
so
back,
into
yeah.
it. I was
Okay, what I was
into
saying.
every word.
Oh.
I can tell you're not on the mic now. You're on the computer.
Yeah.
On my computer. God bless. One of these days we're gonna have technical difficulties. By the time we hit like episode 50, or if we even make it that far,
Right.
it'll be fixed. I promise you, nothing is perfect in the beginning. So
Because
anybody
people are
who
just
listens,
going to send us new mics and laptops and be like, get your shit together. This is getting out of
Exactly.
control.
I feel like we got some
Mainly
good
me.
stuff there. But yeah, so like you feel bad for the Deep because he tries so hard, and then obviously everyone kind of shits on him about the gills. It goes back to the Aquaman thing. Everyone like shits on Aquaman, and then so does that play into his like I need to take advantage of other people, and then that brings you to be like, no, screw this guy, he sucks.
Right.
It's
Well,
just all together. I don't know.
you did feel bad for him because it was like a total insecurity. And I did feel like they basically just told you his backstory of before the girl can make fun of him, he's going to embarrass her. And so, yeah. And in the comics, it wasn't him at all that was in that scene. It was actually Homelander, Black Noir, and A-Train. So it was interesting that they switched that around and did that with the Deep. But I hate him because of that scene, but I love him because I'm such an advocate for the ocean. And when that sperm whale died, I was like, no, don't do it. And it's CGI, but it still bothered me. And yeah, even shooting the sharks, don't shoot the sharks. And what's funny is I actually watched Aquaman recently, and they make a Pinocchio joke there too, because when they're escaping from Atlantis, they hide in the whale. And then she's like, "You learned this from a children's story?" And he's like, "Oh, actually, I watched the movie." And so, they both made the little Pinocchio reference. And they're both DC. Well, The Boys isn't DC anymore, but it started off DC.
Yeah, it was Dark Horse, I believe. Was it Dark Horse? I can't remember.
Oh, Dynamite.
Dynamite. That's right. That's right. You're right.
I actually learned on listening to the Hop Heroes podcast that after a few issues with DC, they were like, "Yeah, this is too much for us," and they let Ennis take his work and go, and they let him keep all the rights.
Hilarious because now we're all about the dark R-rated everything versions of. We want dark, gritty, R-rated versions of everything now. So. Yeah,
but
it is.
It's funny how we transitioned this conversation talking about how Black Panther was a true superhero, and then when we go right into a show we all love where the superheroes are the bad
superheroes
guys.
Well,
Terrible.
It is.
So
it is
terrible.
very, very interesting how they set them all up, and even Homelander. Like, I think the most interesting aspect so far is how, despite him being the strongest, he also he's like the weakest. It's really creepy how he's trying to get his son. Clearly, his son wants nothing to do with him, at least from what you see. Becca, I believe that's her name, right? Becca. She wants nothing to do with him, like, get the fuck out of my house kind of deal. And she just wants to be left alone. And then you have the new boss who took over. And he's basically like, cool, all your powers. I don't really give a shit about you, dude. Whatever. And he just feels powerless because he has all these powers. And yet a mere human being's just like, yeah, I don't care, man. And we didn't even get to the fact that he slapped the deaf dude in episode 1.
Oh my god.
Did he die? That was a lot of blood.
I think he died. He died.
No.
I have a feeling he died.
Blood. He made a comment that he just hurt his ears, but that was a lot of blood on the floor. Every time they looked at it, it was more blood.
I don't think Homelander would let his image get ruined to the public where he let this guy live to go out and be like, Homelander slapped me upside the head, basically. He sucks. Right. And it was basically a show of power, like, yeah, I'm in charge here. You're basically just indispensable to the lady who took over. She's just basically scared of her mind, especially when Stormfront first came on, taking that video when they're filming that fake commercial. She was like, no, it wasn't me. And then the boss, the guy who's in charge of Vought now, he was like, yeah, I don't need your permission for shit, dude. Fuck you.
I love that.
That's another internal power struggle. He's in
Breaking Bad.
Gus Freeman? Is that?
Yeah, he runs Los Pollos Hermanos.
So yeah, he's in Breaking Bad.
I love him as an actor. I think he's so good. But he wasn't in the first season of The Boys, was he? I don't remember him.
I
think he was in it briefly, no? Just like not actually part of the storyline?
He might have been, but he really didn't play any sort of part in the first season.
He's just Madeline
Which also reminds me, like, we saw the CIA director, her head just blew up when she finally figured out what there's so much to unpack here.
I actually had this open. That's from the comics, but it's a completely different storyline. They're in Russia, and it's like superheroes that they're trying. It's a whole other story that I don't even think we have time to go into. But head exploding is from the comics. So when her head exploded, I was like, oh, it was like, oh shit,
I honestly, I didn't expect it.
I have no idea. I still don't understand like what happened.
She tied it together.
She figured it out, and so somebody killed her.
Who did it? So someone. But like that means someone's watching them, or it's like I thought it was like a superhero originally, just like that.
I think I don't know. I have no idea. Somebody had to probably. I don't know because I haven't read the comics yet.
Well, Vought could have somebody in the CIA, but no, this storyline has the CIA and the Boys are working together in the comics. So this head exploding thing.
This season too.
Well. He always tries to do stuff with them, but like they're actually funded by the CIA in the comics.
Oh, okay.
Whereas in this, they're more like vigilantes that are trying to get the CIA to realize that they're the good guys or the good boys. But just the head exploding, I feel like that was just a nod to the comics, even though it's a completely different storyline. So, because they were giving people Compound V, and if they got too out of control, they made their heads explode.
I do wonder if we'll see
comics
take Compound V at some point. I'm very curious to see.
Oh, Hewitt.
Yeah, like Butcher, all them. I am wondering if at some point they will, because there's that scene obviously where Homelander, they're all in the tunnels. He shows up. He's basically like, Starlight, kill this guy. It's your boyfriend, kill him. And she was obviously about to because she had no choice. And then that's when he came in, did his, buried Homelander, and they got away. So I'm wondering how that's going to play in. And then I just wonder if they're going to kind of like she can get Compound V. Then you
I
have
realize
the
it's just
Gecko.
not fair.
Yeah, she got the stuff from Gecko in the lab, who she knew, and he can regenerate, which is really cool. But then he's off being like some sort of hooker. He lets people chop his limbs off. He's like, for an extra grand, I'll let you chop my dick off. I'm just like, oh my god.
He's like, where's an ATM? Oh.
Yeah, but like he's like into all that horror, like hostile Eli Roth type shit, and it's just like, oh my god.
That's crazy. It was a crazy scene.
Yeah, I don't think Starlight would have killed him. I kept waiting for her to do something, but it was, she was stuck between a rock and a hard place, but I feel like she wouldn't have actually gone through with it. But I felt like Huey in that moment.
I was waiting for her to fight Homelander.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna like turn and like blast him or something like that.
So
Obviously,
I am curious, like, obviously nobody's probably gonna be able to kill Homelander because we don't know what his, at least in the show, if you haven't read the comics.
Chop his head off, he should die.
Yeah, but like, is he like Superman, to which you need something special to chop his head off? Is he made of steel, or
is he bulletproof or anything? Or he must be.
He must. It seems like all the suits, regardless of your
dropped a train on him or something or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
That's
I am curious because I don't think Starlight would really be able to beat him. Because Starlight, she has powers, but I don't think she'll be able to beat him necessarily.
Well, maybe his son would be able to.
True.
Do you think Starlight and A-Train are going to end up teaming up and turning, or A-Train starting to turn? Because at the end, when they were talking about not knowing, he could have outed Starlight, but
she kind of blackmailed at the same time. I think A-Train's more about the money, because he obviously alluded to that he grew up poor. He was basically like, you never mess with the money. And people who say that, they've never had to worry about money. So I think he's basically in it for himself. He cares about the money. He cares about the fame. He cares about the deals. He doesn't care about all that other stuff. At least from what I gathered, it's more of he just cares about the money because you never mess with the money. And he grew up poor, and now he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, so I don't see him teaming up.
I don't think I think he's on his own team. And plus, he might not even make it this whole season because he's having heart issues still. Probably as a side effect from taking too much Compound V, which I'm sure we're going to see more of come into play this season.
So I have a question, though, about Becca, because in the comics, Homelander did rape her, and the baby and her did not survive. But wasn't it consensual in the show? I remembered it being consensual.
I don't remember. I
made it seem consensual.
It seemed consensual and enjoyable, but she's still pissed at him.
So I think the way they played it in season 1 is that she willingly did this.
Right.
I think my theory is that she hates him so much. So I think later on in the season it's going to come out that no, it wasn't actually consensual. That's kind of what I'm getting the vibes of. That they probably will tie it into somehow she didn't want no part of it. He just kind of extorted her through power and all that other. That's what I'm
She's
thinking.
like, after what you did. And I was like, well, what did he specifically do to her?
Right. And I think that it's going to come.
Confused by that too.
Okay,
I think it wasn't
the only
consensual. I have a feeling that they made you think it was, but it actually really wasn't, or something along those lines. In some sort
also,
of
how did Madeline Stillwell's baby survive? I'm glad it did, because at the end of the last season, I'm like, does nobody care that there's a baby upstairs?
There's a fucking baby upstairs.
Right. But then they said the baby was on the front lawn, so did Homelander do that? Like, what happened there?
I think he did, yeah, because I don't think he would have brought himself to kill a baby. He didn't care about her, but...
Well, he did care about her, though. He cared about Matt. If anything, I was concerned for that baby because he was so jealous of that baby. Hell, he even drank the baby's breast milk.
Still, that scene where he's just like tonguing the bottle of breast milk was so uncomfortable.
So creepy.
Their whole relationship in the first season just weirded me out so much.
Well, it is weird.
That was all him.
But there's actually a market of bodybuilders who willingly buy breast milk.
Colostrum. Yes.
Yeah. It helps build your muscles and stuff like that. So that's actually a thing. Like grown ass men and women, maybe, they will buy breast milk. Like there's a market for that. Because
it has the amazing healing properties, don't get me wrong, but I'm not about to drink. It cures pink eye. Like it cures all these different things.
I'm not out there drinking.
I'll take
I'm not.
I think I'll keep the pink eye.
But yeah, I'm curious to see if he makes somebody get pregnant because his addiction to breast milk. Like, how is that going to come back in?
Uh,
Because there's all these things that because he was such a fucking weirdo about it. He's over there like literally sticking his tongue in that bottle of breast milk. Is that going to come into play later? Like, is he going to make the lady who he put in charge go and get pregnant just for the fact that he still needs?
Well, inside the boys, they kept replaying that scene. It was terrible.
He's an amazing actor. Like, props to him.
Right.
He's great.
black.
I hate him so much. I don't dislike anybody. I can't remember the last character I disliked.
Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones.
Yep, that's true. But that was phenomenal. I love
Joffrey. But that's how you know you're doing your job is you hate this guy so much.
I think like Ramsay Bolton being so evil kind of, I mean, Inhumans was terrible in general, but having him be a guy that we weren't sure if he was supposed to be the good guy or the bad guy when it was Ramsay Bolton. So we're like, wait, no, he's evil.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Just, he was too good. Too good, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, Ramsay Bolton's worse than Homelander.
He sucks. Ramsay Bolton's awful. But I think you again almost feel bad for Homelander, especially at the end of episode 3 where he's just like jealous, because I think at the end of the day he wants to do the right thing, but he's also in it for himself. And
I don't think he wants to do the right thing. I think he just wants to be loved.
That's more what I mean. Is I think he has that missing piece of he was never actually loved, and so he's looking for acceptance.
Right.
He likes being in charge and stuff like that. So you almost feel bad for him, whereas right now Stormfront, you're just like, wow, she really sucks.
Well, she doesn't care about anybody loving her. But with Homelander, it's like nobody can genuinely like him because they're all scared of him. Exactly. So he's never going to have that genuine love. But I just felt like Becca, I'm like, is she being stupid? Is she being ballsy? Like, what? I almost thought that she should have almost played nice a little bit for herself and her son.
Yeah, I'm very weird. I want to see if her son has powers.
Oh, he does.
He does.
Oh, that's right. He does.
I was going to ask.
I think I fell asleep
when he had powers.
No.
Were you guys surprised when he?
I wasn't surprised.
I didn't think he was going to. I really didn't think he was going to, and I thought Homelander was going to be really pissed and like give him the V1.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was coming, but when he freaked out at Homelander or whatever and threw him down, I was genuinely surprised. So I didn't know if that was just.
I had a feeling he had powers, but
I felt like that was kind of a scene you would expect, like, don't mess with my mom kind of thing. Yeah. The little boy's defending his mom. So, I mean, that made sense for it to come out. And, like, whenever you see in, like, with mutants, it always comes out during a vulnerable moment in adolescence.
Right.
So,
they never really control it anyway.
Yeah.
What goes on with it.
Didn't that happen with Superman? I don't remember how his powers came to be.
No, he always like more. It depends in your variation. Like,
I don't remember.
In Man of Steel, the movie, obviously he kind of shows his powers by saving the bus full of kids, things like that. But like a lot of the time, like Hoppy said, was in X-Men. A lot of the kids that they go and find, they only find them because their powers come out in, like that adolescent.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Well, they did that in Wolverine Origins, where the claws come out when he's all mad that he thought his dad was dead.
You can't control it, so it makes sense until you learn to control it. You have a lot going on as a teenager. That's when a lot of the powers come out. So
it's like a combo of emotions and hormones bring out your mutant powers.
Yep.
But I'm wondering that now, though, that you're seeing, obviously, well, not obviously, but you assume so that this little kid didn't get Compound V. So it's like once Compound V's in your system, you can pass it on for generations. So it's like even if they stop the production of this, you still have soups, as they call them, from here on out, I would assume so.
Super villain. It's super villain.
Yeah. For saving America, not the world. It's
I like how they kept pulling that out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think each week we'll probably talk a little about the episode that just aired. I imagine we'll briefly recap the latest episode, so look forward to that. If anybody has anything else to say on The Boys season 2 so far, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of potential. This is probably going to be, we're in for a ride for the last 8 episodes or whatever, 6 episodes it is.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you guys' predictions are, but I'm like, I have no idea what mine is.
Honestly, I think
no
Homelander and Stormfront might anger bang, and then I think at the end of the season, he's going to kill him.
Well, did you see there was a or like they did a commercial for the future, and she's like, laser my boobs again. It's like, whoa.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think they're going to like have it out, and then I think in the end, he's probably going to kill her somehow. I think they're going to fight. She's going to die.
I feel
Those
like
she'll
though
fighting
right now he
people.
doesn't like her, but I feel like he's gonna end up liking her because they're so
Potentially, yeah.
similar. He's gonna be like, oh, she is like me. She's just taking a different
Yeah.
approach.
I
They'll
think
just have
A-Train.
like a big fight scene and then end up making out in the end or something like
Maybe.
Yeah, that honestly, I can see how that goes. But other than that, I honestly have no idea what to even expect. Maybe I think A-Train's going to die this season to kind of open up for Jensen Ackles' character to come in next season. Or is he in this season?
No, season 3. He's in.
Yeah, he'll be in season 3. So I think A-Train will probably die. I think there's got to be something with Starlight and Huey. I think they'll get back together in some fashion. She'll continue to be that mole, so to speak. And then other than that, I think they'll fully work with the CIA coming into the next.
What do you
That'll-
think's gonna happen with Deep? I have no read on that.
I hope he
just
saves
don't
the
know.
whales and sharks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think the
I-
Deep's going to end up trying to team up and destroy the Seven somehow, but for his
Okay.
own reasons because he's so
He's gonna
jealous.
get more innocent marine mammals killed and trying
Yeah.
to do the
I
right
think
thing.
he's
I
going to
can
end up
see
trying to
him
fight the
turning
Seven.
on like Homeland. I can see him turning on those.
He's going to
people. I don't
die.
know.
He's going to die.
I think he's
I think
for
he'll-
sure gonna. I for some reason thought that he was gonna end up like killing himself. I don't know. Like that just seems like something that they would put in there. Someone's gonna say something or do something, or he's gonna do something wrong and end up just killing himself. That's dark. That's a very dark prediction.
No,
Yeah.
but it's on par with the show.
But
I could see
We'll
him
see.
finally coming to terms with his insecurities, no longer looking up to Homelander, trying to fight him and dying in the process.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel. Yeah.
okay,
Exactly.
yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Definitely.
But I mean, if that's what I think, that's probably what will not happen because the
Right.
show,
It
a lot of
seems like
times,
that kind of show.
right?
It seems like that kind of show. The early
Yeah.
Game of Thrones where you just can't predict anything.
There's-
Right.
That's what sucks you in is because you can't predict what's going to happen. So.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm
But
geeked.
yeah, we will see, and we will obviously recap every episode each week. Other than that, yeah, Lucky, where can we find you and your glorious podcast? If you're just kind of listening at the end here, Lucky is running his own kind of show, Feeling Lucky Pod, where him, JJ, and producer Beef, they get together and they talk about some really cool stuff.
Yeah, so the episode will have come out. Is this one coming out on Wednesday? I imagine.
This
Yeah,
comes
so
out
yours will be
Wednesdays.
out before. Yeah.
Ours will be out for ours comes out every Tuesday. This week we have on Brad from Common Law, another one of someone that we love from the Hops News family. It was a super awesome episode. We're titling it Beer for Dummies or Craft Beer for Dummies. He just sits and explains it to us a lot of intricacies about brewing and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. It was super funny. He's an awesome guy. But yeah, find me at Feeling Lucky Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was fun. I'll talk comics with you anytime.
Definitely.
Hoppy,
Oh, I'm doing my parting shots.
it's
My
you.
parting shots are I'm the Hoppy Mommy on Instagram and the Untapped, and you can find us on Hops Geek News. I actually posted a picture. Do you guys know who Pippi Longstocking is?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't.
See,
I
I wasn't sure. So
Wow,
I
I
posted
thought
a
there
picture of
was
Pippi
a-
Longstocking on our
I've
Hops
heard the
Geek
name.
stories today.
Oh,
She's like, Pippi Longstocking is coming into.
she's got
So
the red
that's
hair,
just,
pigtails, all
yeah,
that.
it goes like this. The picture.
Yeah. I remember reading the book as a kid.
Stormfront said that was her favorite superhero, and she would dress her
Yeah.
up as her for Halloween every year. So I actually posted her in our stories today. So, yeah, you can find us Hops Geek News is where you can find Mash and I, and we post a lot of random geek and beer stuff. So that's where I'm at.
Stuff.
Yes, it's fun. I still hold myself back sometimes. I'm like, do these people want to see this? That's why I put Pippi Longstocking in the story
Literally
rather
just
than in the
share.
post.
No, share anything that you want to share.
Well, I thought I'm like maybe
Here's
any.
our-
I thought maybe it was like, because, I'm female and born in the 80s, so I'm like, maybe this is just directed at me.
I have such an affinity for 80s movies and 80s culture that there's a market for that.
Well,
Definitely.
Pippi Longstocking invented the floor is lava, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I remember if you land on the floor, like there's something down there, maybe it's gators or something. I haven't watched this in 20 years. They rip your legs off and stick them in your ears. So,
Jesus Christ.
So share
the
anything
80s.
Check out us at Hopsgeek News. Hoppy is going to share anything and everything. No second guesses. Just do it. And that's the glorious thing about the internet. As for me, we air every Wednesday. You can catch us on all your favorite platforms. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of, that awful thing you need to just go out and say. Smash it. Next week, we're going to talk about our most underrated superheroes, something we've been saying that we're going to talk about for weeks now. And we're finally going to hopefully get around to do it, barring any sort of crazy upcoming news that pops out. Yeah. Every Wednesday, find us, all that good stuff. You can find me at Matthew Tyler, Twitter, and on the Instagram. And I supposedly am going to Florida next month. Hoppy's dead. I'm supposedly going to Florida at the end of next month. So you might actually get an episode of Hops Geek News where Hoppy and I are in the same area together for a change. So stay tuned on that. And yeah, cheers, everybody. Lucky, thanks again for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. Cheers to the boys.
Yeah, cracking cold ones with the boys.
And the female.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.